one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Okay. We'll call this
Madam
meeting
Vice
to order.
Madam Vice
Yes.
President,
Yes.
just want to note for the record that we did have an executive session earlier this evening during which we discussed personnel, real estate, and legal matters.
If you
Thank you.
contrast, many communities which have a heavy presence of police to middle and upper middle class.
Thank you, Mr. Verway. We will probably be joined shortly by our council president. She is absent right now, Ms. Linda Lavender Norris. Can I get a motion on the approval of the minutes?
I make that motion.
I second.
I'm sorry. I can't. Lawson and folks, thank you.
There's our president.
Can you pull council, Mr. Lugan?
Oh, okay.
My apologies for my lateness. I had to go get some medicine.
You okay?
I'm sorry.
You okay?
I will be. I will be.
Good. Right now, Mr. Logan is polling council for the approval of minutes.
Thank you.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Miss Salamine,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
and Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes. Okay. Can I ask who motioned and second for the approval?
Motion was made by Mrs. Lawson, and second, Mr. Folks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I get a motion for approval of our accounts payables.
I make that
motion.
One second.
Questions, comments. I first want to ask Ms. Salamine, were you able to make contact with Mr. Troutman regarding our finance director, regarding anything that would require background information?
There was nothing in this package that I needed to contact him for.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure his availability and, just make sure it was available to you.
Oh, he said that he would be.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions or comments from anyone?
We didn't get a second on that.
Yes, I second.
Yeah, Mrs.
Okay.
Mrs. Green did.
Green. Any other questions or comments? Full council, please.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Miss Salamine,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt.
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Do you have any additions, deletions, or modifications?
I make a motion that we delete action number 6.1. Is that what we're doing? Until we get deleted or no?
We deleted.
Or are we voting on it? I thought we were going to set up an appointment.
This is late already, so I think we need to go ahead and
Okay.
vote, and we could still set up a meeting for the understanding and
Right.
that we come in full agreement, but I think we first need to vote on this because it's,
Okay.
timely.
Great. Then I have no additions or deletions, Madam President.
Any others? Okay. Seeing there is none, presentation,
One presentation.
is that Ms. Clancy? Is she on?
Mhm.
Yes.
I
I
am
asked
on.
Hi,
And,
Karen.
Hello. It's wonderful to see everyone's faces, even if you are thumbnail sized.
Karen,
Thank you.
can you introduce yourself, Karen, and state the organization you're with?
Absolutely. My name is Karen Clancy, and I am here representing Natural Lands. We are the consultant that has worked with the city of Coatesville on the Palmer Park Master Plan, as well as the ongoing Ash Park Master Planning process. I'm here tonight to present ongoing progress on Palmer Park, specifically phases 2 and 3.
Okay.
Now, James, how do I go about sharing my screen? Do I have permission?
Ruth Ann, if you can give Karen permission, that'd be great.
So different.
Right?
Hmm.
All right, let's see about this. Share screen. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
Oh, not that.
There you go.
How does it look, everyone?
Beautiful.
Wonderful. All right.
Natural.
I wish that was our park.
Yeah, right?
Once again, thank you so much for allowing me to present this progress update. Despite, excuse me?
That's Ash Park.
When we're done with it, right?
When we're done with it, yes.
Maybe in like 1609 or something.
Sorry, Karen.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. A laugh is a good thing. So tonight I am specifically presenting on Palmer Park, but somewhere down the line, I believe in a couple months, I will have some Ash Park progress updates as well. But for tonight, we are hoping to move forward as quickly as possible with phases 2 and 3 of Palmer Park. As all of you, or most of you are aware, we completed the master planning process for Palmer Park in 2018. It consisted at that time of 4 phases, and we were able to move forward almost immediately with and complete phase 1 in spring of 2019. It was roughly $500,000 for that phase, and it consisted of a splash pad, a nature play area, new plaza, sidewalks, landscaping, and seating. Here's an image of the original park. That is the pool that hadn't been functioning in over 12 years. And this was the completed splash pad. And you can start to see a little of the rest of the park, part of phase 1. For phases 2 and 3, the anticipated completion, if we are able to receive approval from City Council this evening and a resolution, we can complete this by fall 2020. The estimated cost for phases 2 and 3, which we are considering as one project right now. So even though I'm saying phases 2 and 3, just think the next phase. So the estimated cost for the next phase is $500,000. We have not been able to raise the full $500,000. Currently, we have $385,000 on hand.
Somebody's not happy.
That dog was unhappy with how much money
Yes.
was raised. However, we are still continuing to try, and we have matching funds from DCNR. So anything we raise, DCNR will double. So we will continue with that. But currently, $385,000. What this includes is design, engineering, construction management, and construction. the city of Coatesville is not expected to contribute in any way beyond the fact that they have been able to obtain some of these grants. So no additional money will go out. And currently it is funded by DCNR, DCED, as well as private and corporate foundations. The improvements include new playground surfacing for the existing playground, play equipment repairs, new landscaping, new seating, bioswales. So this is green stormwater infrastructure to deal with stormwater runoff on site. It includes new sidewalks around the park, as well as ADA ramps. It includes a larger pavilion, picnic tables, hammocks, chess tables, grills, and not the least important, lighting. Now, as we have not received all of the money, we haven't raised all of the money, during the design engineering process, we are going to receive steady updates from the engineer for cost estimating purposes. And depending on how much money we have, we can value engineer during the design process so that we can incorporate as much of what we want into it with the money that we have on hand. And I will give you steady updates during that process. Also, because of COVID-19 and the new world we live in today, there will be public health protections incorporated into the design. We need to figure that out as we move along, whether it's, hand sanitation stations, that type of thing, but we don't know what those will be right now. We just know they need to be considered now. Here are some images. This is the existing playground. It has a fabric surfacing that is degrading and in some cases non-existent. And then this is the lawn area of the park, what we had talked about as phase 3. And you can see the pavilion in the distance. That pavilion is going to be doubled in size as it's heavily used. And this is this kind of seating, gathering area. It's a little dark right now. This will be renovated and upgraded with chess tables, picnic tables, cafe seating, and landscaping. Here are some of the elements that we're incorporating. So there's the larger pavilion on the left. There's benches to match what we put in phase 1, more landscaping. And this is the new play surfacing. It's the fiber engineered mulch, very inexpensive to install and maintain and replace. Whereas the existing surfacing, that fabric surfacing, when it gets damaged, that is not easy to replace. So we're proposing this.
Expensive.
I'm sorry, Linda, what was that?
I said, and it's expensive to replace.
Exactly. Also in phases 2 is a whole variety of seating, fun seating, diverse seating for people to kind of pick and choose. So we have these hammocks, we have the picnic tables, we have the chess tables and different seating, as well as benches that I showed before.
Are the hammocks able to be removed?
They are. So I've spoken with, right now, these hammocks are all over Philadelphia city parks and they're there seasonally. So they can be removed, they could be removed on a nightly basis or they can just be removed seasonally. And they are locked, so they cannot be removed by your, just a resident. They would have to be removed by someone from the city.
Okay.
And as I said before, lighting is also going to be incorporated to some degree, as much as we can with the money that we have. And we're working with a lighting consultant right now to select fixtures and types of lighting that will provide the safety that Coatesville wants in their parks while not degrading the experience of the residents who are immediately adjacent to the park, because this will be quite a change if they suddenly had lights shining in their windows at all times. The anticipated schedule for this, if City Council does approve this, we can move forward with getting the design engineering contract signed and they can start working on this in June this month. That would be expected then that the RFP could be issued in August. It'll be roughly 2 months. And in September, the bid could be awarded and construction could begin and the project could be completed by November of 2020. There is one aspect of this project that we can move forward with by not going to bid, and this is through the PA Co-Stars program, which you may all be familiar with as we utilize that program in phase 1 to purchase some of the equipment. Through the PA Department of General Services, they allow municipalities to outright purchase equipment from certain approved companies at competitive prices without going to bid. So it saves you money. And through that program, we can purchase and install the pavilion. And that would allow us to get that installed before summer is over, basically by June or July at the latest, so that people can enjoy that new larger pavilion all summer long. I think I may have just missed a slide, but it was not that important. It was just the master plan again. If you have any questions, you can ask them now, or this is my contact information, and please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Hey, Karen, this
Yes.
is James. So can you share with us when it comes to the trees or vegetation, the planting of them as we're going into the winter months, would the cold weather impact that, and or should that be done like, in the months of maybe July or August?
So actually, James, July and August, generally landscapers do not want to plant because of the heat and the requirements for water. So trees are generally planted up until the ground is frozen, unless they're considered fall hazards. There are certain trees that you do not want to plant in the fall, maples, etc. So we would select the trees so that they could be planted in the fall and not be considered those hazard trees. And they will be fine. Regardless, they will be under a guarantee for a year. So if they did not survive the winter, they would be replanted.
Question there, Karen.
Yep.
You said you was $175,000 short.
Yes, 115,000.
Oh, okay. Now, where is that going to come from?
This is a very good question. So,
Lawn care.
So we have a grant application into AARP right now for $20,000, which would be matched by DCNR for another 20. So we could potentially have another $40,000 in hand by July that would get rolled into the overall budget. We do not have any other funding necessarily in the works because, as you know, people and funding organizations have a different focus right now. So what we will do during this whole design process is value engineering. So we will make do with what we've got. If that means that some lighting fixtures cannot be installed during this, but some can, then we'll do that. If it means we need to remove, the hammocks or something that can easily be taken away while leaving the core parts of it, like the sidewalks or the play surfacing or things that immediately need to be utilized, then we'll do that. But I will keep you updated the entire process for input on what is considered the most important aspects.
Yeah, and I like to say that, Karen and Natural Lands Trust, they've been working really hard on this. We do have regular meetings. The Brandywine Health Foundation, very supportive of this project. Some of the reality is right now is, as Karen mentioned, funds are being reallocated to the COVID pandemic. And one of the things that we are looking at is, what can we, how do we stretch the dollars and what's kind of priority for the park? And I think, what Karen is doing or has done is, as we look at, maybe some of the amenities that we, kind of dreamed about, when we had the goal of $500,000, we just have to kind of, the reality is we may have to kind of cut back a little bit and maybe not get everything, but the redesign and the adjustment doesn't seem like we're losing, much at all. So that is, that's great. That's great. And I think you have the ability to do that in parks, because, everyone has a different idea of a park, but a park is something to be enjoyed. It's open space, and sometimes the simplest things are great. Don't put a motion light in your office.
You're back.
Yes.
Another question, Karen, since we hadn't had no meetings for Ash Park,
Yep.
any news on that or?
So you are correct. We have not had a meeting for Ash Park since January. I can't believe it's been that long. We had taken a deliberate break for February and March, and we were going to reconvene and go on this really great field trip to view parks in the area, just to kind of inhabit the space and look around and see what they had and what aspects the advisory group enjoyed and didn't like, that kind of thing. We could not have that, obviously, under the current circumstances. We are reconvening next week for an advisory group meeting on Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. to kind of restart this process. And then the expectation is that in August or September, we'll have an on-site meeting in the park, following all social distancing guidelines, where we will present the 2 concept designs that have been developed based on public and advisory group input. And the anticipated completion of the master plan is still expected to be January of 2021. So we're not extending that.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, all.
No,
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Karen. Enjoy your evening. Be blessed.
All right. You as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Can you take the share off? Oh, there you go.
Yes, there we go.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to citizens' hearings regarding regular action items only. Do we have any, Mr. Logan?
No, we do not.
I have a question. From previous meetings, have any questions come in that have been unanswered?
I don't know. I'm not.
I know last meeting I had asked if we had any citizens' comments come in, that they could include them, email them to us so that we could see what people are asking.
Okay.
And
At this particular time, Ruth Ann can't get into her email because we're recording. But I'll
have we
circle
been
back.
getting them, Jeff? Have we been getting any, James?
I don't know if we have or not.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. She says no comments have come in at this particular time. Or
From
no
previous
comments
meetings?
have come in. No. So
Okay.
no.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm. We did get, I'm sorry, we did get one today, and Chief has answered.
Okay, who was it from?
It was from a Mr. Paul Evans.
What was the question?
And what was his question?
Chief, would you like to answer that?
Was that the email string, James, you're referring to?
I didn't see it, Chief, I'm sorry. I'm just reading Ruth Ann's text messaging regarding that we did receive one today.
Yeah, I don't believe I've seen anything today other than the email string from the weekend regarding legalization of marijuana.
Yeah, he sent that to all of us over the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was something else then, Chief. I don't think it was that.
Okay, then I haven't seen anything additional.
Okay.
So once we get that question, can it be sent out to everyone?
What is that?
So if we have anything, then yes, we'll make sure that council members are aware of it and that we respond to those who are submitting any questions or comments.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, so we got to close even though we didn't have anything.
I'll make a motion to close citizen hearings.
Second.
Questions, comments? Full council, please.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Alameen,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson, Mrs. Lawson, I'm sorry. Mrs. Lawson. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes. I said it 3 times and I was like, oh.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to our regular action items. 6.1, receive and consider First Amendment to cooperation agreement by and between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Chester and the City of Coatesville. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
I'll second
second?
it. I'll second it.
Questions, comments? Full council, please. Wait, before we do, Mr. Logan, could you expound just a little bit for the public's understanding?
Okay, let me.
Either yourself or Mr. Verway.
Mr.
Mr.
Verwey, would you
Logan,
like-
certainly. The agreement is with the county and the city of Coatesville, which permits the county to provide funding and to be a source of funding, federal funding to the city. All municipalities in the county are asked to participate in this process and sign these cooperation agreements to provide that funding. If this agreement is not signed, then the municipality that opts out does not get the benefit of being able to access the federal dollars that come in through certain programs. This particular agreement will run from the present through 2023 to provide access to those federal dollars. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. You're welcome.
Any questions?
No.
Full council, please.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Alameen,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Ms. Lavender Norris.
Yes.
Thank you.
6.2, receive and accept the 2019 municipal annual audit and financial reports submitted to DCED. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that
I'll make
motion.
that motion.
That was Mr. Simpson and who? A
Ms.
second?
Alamin. Ms. Alamin. Mr.
Okay.
Troutman, would you like to comment?
Yes, this is an annual filing. It is a critical portion of the independent audit. It is coincidentally, last week, the DCED did their monitoring, their federal monitoring of our participation with DCED for 2019. And because of the way the different teammates within the administration and they came together and got the documents together quickly. We were able to get a quick turnaround, and we got a quote unquote clean opinion with no findings, no recommendations from DCED to go with the actual filing itself. I'll answer any questions.
So that's a good thing, right?
It's a very good thing, Mr.
Okay.
Simpson.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Right? Any other questions or comments? Whole council, please.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
All right, my dear.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Alamin. I think someone's on mute. Ms. Alamin, Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Alamin,
Yeah.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes.
Thank you.
Would you like to interject, Ms. Alamin, are you okay?
Actually, guys, I'm going to excuse myself.
Okay, we'll keep you in prayer.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Gosh. Discussion items.
I'm sorry, Madam President. I think we need to close regular action items.
I'm
I make a
sorry.
motion to close.
A
A
second.
second. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Folks.
Okay, thank you.
Whole council,
Miss-
please.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes. Ms. Malday, please make it a matter of record that Councilwoman Alamin had to excuse herself for the remainder. And we're on to our discussion items for the meeting minutes. Are there any?
I don't have any.
On to 7.2, the park reopening. Mr. Logan, would you like to speak to that?
Sure. As many of you know that this past weekend, we entered into the yellow status. Based on that particular status, that put us into, I'm going to pull up basically what is allowed now in terms of outdoor. Our parks, pull this up here, sorry, give me a minute, I'd like to share this screen. Wonderful technology.
Hey,
Beautiful thing when it works.
You're so right. Okay, I think I have it here. Okay, so what I'm pulling up now, excuse me, is where we are as far as yellow. And as you can see here, this is the Pennsylvania regulations in terms of where we are, and the CDC regulations in terms of where we are. When we go down to the yellow status or the yellow phase for our parks, recreational facilities, open with modifications to ensure social distancing. Closed spaces where social distancing cannot be maintained have COVID-19 transmission awareness signage. We are working on signage right now. Excuse me. We should have signage in place by the 18th of June. We anticipate the signage to reflect distancing as well as hand sanitation. And if anyone does have any symptoms or things like that, there will be contact information on the signs related to that. We have been monitoring other municipalities and how they're addressing these issues. There are some municipalities that are coming up with their own plans to augment the CDC's regulations. One in particular has the basketball courts and tennis courts open with physical distancing restrictions and informative signage required. So the stress for physical distancing, if possible, will pretty much be on the signage. And I think the important thing is that our parks will have the signage attached to or in all of the parks that throughout the city. At this particular time, we are not accepting special event applications due to the potential large gathering. We've had some early discussion about it, and I think we're just going to monitor, you know, where we are in the yellow phase to see, you know, if any changes will be taking place in the coming weeks.
Mr. Logan, I have a question. So we have signage coming. Are we going to install some type of sanitizing station or anything in any of the parks? Maybe one in each park or two in each park or anything?
Right, we are looking into that right now. Certainly, you know, like many things that we are looking into in terms of added expenses, we didn't budget for it. So we would need to do a projection of, you know, how many would we need, the replacement of them, the areas that they will be in. So we are evaluating that and looking at it, but certainly some of the, in terms of sanitation, guidelines will have to be on the individuals that are using the park. So we will encourage people, if you're going to use the parks, you know, bring in hand sanitizer, wash your hands. We do have parks that have you know, areas where you can wash your hands, and those are some of the things that are we're going to be requesting.
I think safety is paramount. If we need to relook at the budget to add, to subtract and to add whatever the expense is for that and subtract somewhere else, safety is paramount.
Yes, yeah, and there may be, and Rich can comment on this. There may be grants available because of, as I mentioned, because of COVID, that would allow us to get reimbursed for any expenditures in those areas. Rich, can you comment on that, or do we have any clear definition in that respect?
Just a few general comments that we're monitoring it. We're looking to see what's happening. nothing definitive has come out that will tell us specifically what we can and can't get reimbursed for through the federal or state programs. We do have health. Our health plan has made money available to help defray some of the costs, but we are tracking all of our costs related to COVID, so that when, as opposed to if, we get access, we'll be able to apply and get reimbursed.
So if we need to do a budget amendment or something, I just think that safety is important.
Yes. So that's all the information I have on the park reopening, and again, we're just, you know, we're trying to you know, maintain the parks as best we can, and again, stressing the safety aspect and health and safety aspect of it. So
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
I was just saying we're continuing to do that. Our public works guys, you know, they've been out. They are sometimes the signs are knocked down in terms of the parks being closed. I mean, you know, folks, if you're listening, we're just trying to protect you and as much as we can. So, you know, our public work guys are circling the parks. They're putting back up the signs that are being knocked down, but we're not trying to keep people from enjoying themselves. It's just the simple fact is that the parks are closed until we designate them to be reopened.
So,
I don't know how, or I don't know how we can, with regard to the basketball courts, I don't know how we could put the hoops up and ask for safe social distancing when it's almost required that you're over somebody's shoulder or behind their back all the time. You're in one another's face all the time. So I don't know.
It's hot
how
out.
we can.
Everybody's sweating.
Right. They're sweating and they're yelling, and
they're not going to wear masks while they're playing.
You can't breathe and play.
That's
so
right.
I don't know that putting the hoops up on the courts is a good idea. I think the CDC has to rethink and communicate a little more clearly with regard to what can and cannot be done. It sends a mixed message. It tells CDC saying, go ahead, you can play. And then it leaves us in a position where we know that you're putting your health in jeopardy if you're out there trying to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I look at it differently. I think that, you know, we cannot babysit everybody forever.
We can't.
If they feel safe, why is it always upon us to say what you can and cannot do? At some point, we got to say, let's get back to reality. You know,
this is reality, and people are dying.
It's just my opinion. I just disagree.
I personally say that we're closed to the 27th.
Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting both you and Mr. Simpson, but I do want to ask that you allow him to finish his comment.
No, it's just that you know, to me, if the government is saying open it back up and allow things to happen, then who are we to say no, you can't do it?
Local
I'm just saying, let them go back, let them, you know, it's at some point we got to just say, hey, it's on you. We can't babysit them. That's it. I'm done.
I understand what you're saying. I think that being at public property, though, I think that's the part that the government, the city government has to worry about, because we don't want to be liable for something, an outbreak or something like that. I do understand what you're saying, that a lot of people want to get back to normal and we're open back up to yellow. But I think when it comes to basketball and the playgrounds, like, we're not going to stand down there with spray every time a kid goes down the slide but you don't want anything to happen to a child either.
Well, I think that we're already closed until the 27th. We have not purchased the signage, you know, in spite of, I mean, we can't walk around with disinfectant, but we can put up the precautionary signs and stuff. That's the responsible thing to do. So once we get that in place, I think then that's when we can consider. Until we get that done, again, this being prepared ahead of time, you know, we should have probably had the signage already. But we're already closed until after till the 27th. And I think at that time we should reconsider, because we should have the signage by then.
Right.
Right. And God forbid something were to occur in the park as a result of us reopening.
With the youth, yeah.
Right. And it wouldn't be, while yes, there, you know, the finger will be pointed at the city, but if there were to be costs incurred, we need everybody, our residents, to understand that the costs incurred will not be leveled on city council. It'll be leveled on the city as a whole. The taxes, everything. Like, we don't have money sitting around in reserve to pay for things of that nature. So if something comes up, it's gonna be to the extent that we're gonna have to find resources. And the only place to look will be taxes. So we have to be very careful as we move forward.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
And not to make light of this issue in any way, but as a basketball player myself, I would love someone to be 6 feet away from me so I can shoot.
Cheater.
Hey,
Yeah, right.
Mr. Logan, I heard that you need somebody to be 6 feet away from you. Just saying.
That's
So,
right.
Mr. Logan, how soon do you think the signage would be in? Did I miss that part?
No, we're looking at the 18th,
Okay.
June 18th.
Well, I think we should just leave it alone and not consider the opening until after we get the signage.
It's not an action item anyway, right?
It is not.
Discussion.
Discussion item.
Okay, any other comment, questions? Very well, we're on to our report. Mr. Verway.
Madam President, since our council's last meeting, I have worked on a number of different issues. I've advised both council and the administration staff on issues related to gatherings, activities by large groups, and the state's declaration of disaster declaration and the extension thereof. I've also worked on certain issues related to financing of police vehicles. I've worked on certain land development applications and approvals, which include 109 West Lincoln Avenue. And I have advised on some contract issues related to matters involving the administration. Unless there's any other questions, that's my report.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Verway. Mr. Logan, do you want to go over some of the points in Mr. Trio's absence from his report?
Let me see if I can pull it up here.
What was that other one, Lauren? What's inside? that one. And I don't know if it was mentioned because I was a little late getting on, but Mr. Trio, in his absence, he is not feeling well at all. So Mr. Logan is standing in his stead, and we deeply appreciate that.
Thank you. So there was, as far as Mr. Trio's report, there was an email sent to you all on Friday, June 5th, outlining a number of things ranging from his weekly report, which is dated from June 1st to the 7th, his weekly activity, including meetings with our engineering firms, some local investors, as well as scheduling appointments for future meetings. There is a weather spot report included in his report, outlining emergency operations center, which gives you an incident description. And that's included in his report. There's also a emergency operation report on COVID incidents that's dated June 4th. That gives you a snapshot of some of the COVID activity throughout the county, total numbers confirmed, total number of deaths in Chester County, and the update from the Department of Emergency Services. In addition to that, in the body of his email, he speaks about activities from the COVID data board for data mapping.
That yellow, yeah, those two.
He gives a summary of activities in terms of what his work week was. Basically, the activity in his work week. He completed performance evaluations. He continued to work with staff on a 5-year plan. He provided COVID updates. At that particular time, 86 cases were confirmed. Again, this was as of last Friday. He went on to share that the governor, of course, had declared yellow phase on Friday, indicating the map and what the criteria were for the yellow phase. He has an outline of the City Hall reopening and the various phases that we will implement during that reopening for the public as well as the staff, which we will be implementing over the next 2 weeks. As I mentioned, emergency service information. Also, he included engineering, project, and infrastructure updates. Some of the meetings that we've had with PECO, as well as PA American Water, some of the infrastructure work that they'll be doing throughout the city. PECO will be delaying some repairs due to recent storm damage. And again, Mr. Trio is in contact with PECO to confirm all of those construction dates. Let's see. Parking garage structure. We're working with our grant consultant, Econ Partners, Ms. Colleen Terry. There was a bill grant that was submitted May 18th. I think you all were briefed on that already. And then we have CRP grant request for renovations on the Coatesville Community Center. That was submitted May 28th. Codes and permitting. Because we are in yellow, there are new restrictions, or I should say some restrictions have been lifted. So our codes department can kind of resume some of the duties that they had to basically postpone or cancel. So we're looking forward to our codes LTL consultant to come back and start their work again. Also under yellow, and you may have heard this last week, I don't know if Mike shared this with you or not, but the real estate and brokers, they are able to now show listings, whether it's commercial and retail space. That is a plus for the city of Coatesville because we have a number of vacant buildings. So now they can actually come in and show potential investors or take them inside some of those buildings. So that's a great thing for us here in the city. Our Public Works Department, included in Mike's report, Mr. Trio's report, their log is attached. Public Works have been doing some outstanding work, just kind of keeping the city intact, being our eyes and ears of what's been going on, working with our codes department when it comes to our waste removal and quality of life issues. So our hats go off to them. The RDA has moved or has accepted 2 additional bids for the latest round for the flats. They also have secured a consultant, Mr. Dave Cicchetti, to vet now the 3 proposals and provide recommendation for the preferred developer. This was shared with you all at our last meeting. So we look forward to their work and to their decision as we move forward. And I think that's about it for Mr. Trio's report. If you need more detail, once again, that report was sent to you June 5th, and it has all of the other attachments for anything more detail. Onto my report. I'm just going to start with what occurred on Thursday, June 4th. It was the city of Coatesville experienced a very, very large and very successful commemoration march for George Floyd. Hundreds of demonstrators came out in protest, attending a well-organized and peaceful march, starting at Double Diner on the east end of town, and they made their way through the city to the Coatesville Police Department. I would like to say that our police chief, Chief Lawfer, him and his men did an outstanding job of preparing our city. There was no confrontations with our police department. We welcomed the protesters and the demonstrators. Many of them were from the city of Coatesville, some were not. It was a peaceful demonstration, and we also had in attendance at a safe distance, Sergeant Allis, our city manager, myself, and 4 council members. And our state representative, Dan Williams, attended, and he led the crowd in prayer. And the demonstration lasted approximately 2 hours without incident. I'd just like to say thanks to the organizers and residents of Coatesville for showing that Coatesville can unite and come together peacefully during this tragic time. And our collective hearts goes out to the Floyd family. And now the Foundation for Change has begun. So we've had a number of calls of individuals, mostly young, that want to meet and discuss how do we make change in our city. And and again, the police chief has made extensive efforts to make sure that things like this don't happen on his watch or our watch. And we're very appreciative of that. And I think, having the opportunity to have dialogue with young people who are looking for change, I think that's going to make our city stronger. Yeah. So we're looking forward to those groups and committees, maybe meeting on a quarterly basis, but just having the open dialogue. I think that's important here. So again, thank you, Chief. Thank you for your men that were out during that day. Thank you for the residents that were out participating. And thanks to all of you council members that supported and for your concern for everyone's safety in this community. On to the city administration. Again, we are in the yellow phase right now. The city is planning to reopen City Hall. Right around June 15th, we should have everything in place. New hours in the lobby will be posted. For those of you who need to come into the City Hall, we are recommending that maybe you call ahead, maybe we can schedule appointments. If you have permits and code issues, please call the codes department. We can help you with that. If there are other issues related to waste or maybe finance, we welcome you to call ahead. That way we can schedule you to come in. Or when you do come in the building, we will be practicing, social distancing as well as hand sanitizer and things like that will be in the lobby. We posted on the 21st on our website, from Governor Wolf that, and I mentioned this earlier, that the real estate industry can conduct business here. So as far as that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be resuming aggressively our efforts through the opportunity zones. So as many of you know, the city of Coatesville has 4 tracks that have been designated for the opportunity zone. We welcome investors, and that's local investors as well, to pick up the phone and let's pick up where we left off. We're working very hard with Second Century Alliance and a number of their staff to continue where we left off before COVID happened. And we would like to pick up that momentum that we had moving forward. On the community awareness and events, the only update I have for you here is we're still in holding pattern for all events and special events applications. We are not accepting event applications because we are in a holding pattern for opening our parks. I apologize for that, but as Councilwoman Green mentioned earlier, your safety is very important to us, and we just don't want to jeopardize individuals that plan to have a small gathering and they turn into much larger gatherings. So we are going to be in a holding pattern to accept special event applications until probably towards the end of this month, and then we will be reevaluating accepting those events applications as we move forward. A couple of things left on the testing side of things. Gordon Elementary has extended the hours, or will be extending the hours for COVID testing. You can go tomorrow and this Wednesday if you need to take a test. If you're showing any symptoms, please let them know when you arrive. If you're not showing any symptoms, you will still be able to take a test. But we just want to make sure that if you are showing any symptoms, ladies and gentlemen, please get a test, and you have the opportunity to do so. We were told this afternoon, 5 additional sites will come online. South Coatesville, which is 1 site right now, will expand some of the services up there that will include COVID testing. So we are anticipating more people to go out and get tested. The last part of the report that I have is regarding the business and community development. We have been in talks with the Chester County Housing Partnership to launch a first-time homebuyer program, working in concert with MCDC and Second Century Alliance, as I mentioned a couple of meetings ago. Those talks have been great. We look to move forward and in bringing residents here in the city of Coatesville who are interested in buying homes. We have a program that's going to roll out to assist them in identifying homes and helping them prepare their credit so that they can become first-time home buyers. So we're very excited about that moving forward. With that, I will end, and that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Logan? Okay, Mr. Troutman, your finance report?
Madam President, I have one critical reminder update, and that is the due dates for the rental licenses, business licenses, and the real estate taxes are all due July 31st. This is just trying to keep it in the forefront to remind people that there are no penalties through July 31st pursuant to council's conversations a few meetings ago.
And that's
other than that,
rental, that's rental, real estate.
yeah, Madam President, the four things: rental licenses, business licenses, real estate taxes, and the solid waste fees. All four of those have been extended for due dates through July 31st.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you much. Any questions for Mr. Troutman? Okay. Do we have any non-agenda item questions from our citizens hearing, for citizens hearings?
President Lavender Norris, I just want to make mention that there was a comment on the YouTube video, if that counts, about Ash Park sidewalks are in desperate need of repair. So I just want to make mention of that because it was from a resident.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, on to special events.
I'm sorry, Madam President.
Yep.
We would need to close citizens. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we would need to close citizens hearings.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. The folks
Ms. Lawson.
and Ms. Lawson, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving forward to our special event, because of our park situation, any special events that were intended for the parks probably will not be approved. And I'm saying probably considering our situation with regard to the COVID guidelines and the fact that our special events, the protocol is it goes to the city manager, who then submits the paperwork for our fire chief, police chief, and public works department's approval. Once he receives them, he makes his decision. At that time, if the person that the applicant isn't satisfied with the decision, they can appeal to council, and then council can overturn if they deem necessary. And I'm giving you the protocol. I want everybody to understand the process for this. So you'll have a clear understanding and know where your event stands. Right now, it is in the hands of the manager, but he definitely has to take the state guidelines into consideration. Just wanted to share that bit of information. So I can tell you that right now, special events will not be taking place where there's large gatherings in the city. And we are now on to our council comment. Beginning with Mr. Simpson.
Well, again, we're here under conditions that are less than favorable. I want to thank everybody that may be tuning in on YouTube. We appreciate your support. I want to say, thank you to city staff and my fellow council members for last Thursday's demonstration. Like we've said in our pre-discussions, it's like everybody just wants to be heard. They want a chance. They want a chance to vent. They want a chance to speak out, and they want to see some sort of change, which is long overdue. And I want to thank everybody for the peaceful demonstration that occurred. And hopefully we don't just stop here. We continue to listen, and we continue to make progress on some of the areas that we need an awful lot of work on. So thank you, and have a nice night.
Mr. Cole?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for joining in and, keep being safe. I know quite a few people that died from this COVID. So it is for real and it's out there, and keep the 6 feet up, keep the mask on, wash your hands, and pray. Far as the demonstration that happened on Thursday, I was glad to be a part of it. Yeah, there needs to be a change. It's probably 400 years overdue. Just have a good night and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Hunt?
I too just want to thank everyone for joining in tonight via YouTube and those of us that are here. And I too just echo the sentiments of my colleagues. Just stay safe, still be cautious of things that you do. Wear your mask, keep your social distancing. We're moving in the yellow, but we still have to be careful because the virus is still very much alive and it's very much out there. So please, please continue. I know it's getting warm and don't want to be stuck in the house, but be mindful of where you're going. I was looking at the news and there were quite a few cases from this weekend, especially at the beaches, that was transmitted back here into Pennsylvania. So just continue to be mindful of what you're doing, continue to be mindful of those that you are around, and continue to keep council and the city in prayer because we're trying to make the decisions that are best for all of us as we go through and navigate through this time. And again, I want to commend the organizers for the march on Thursday. It was very peaceful, and yet I thought it was very beneficial. I want to thank our chief and Officer Alice for coming out and addressing the crowd. I thought that was very beneficial to those that were there. So we thank you. We thank everyone. Have a good night. Keep our colleagues in prayer, Ms. Alameen and our president, Ms. Linda Lavender Norris. And again, thank you, staff, for all that you do. Have a good night.
Thank you. Ms. Alameen isn't there. Mrs. Lawson?
I was going to do this, but. So most of you know that tonight is most likely my last night on city council. And I was fortunate enough to be brought back by the colleagues I have on the screen right now. And I just want to say how appreciative I am to all of you who voted to bring me back on council. Not the way that I would have wanted to leave council. I think that what has happened over the last week I feel like it's my personal mission to make sure that the people in Coatesville start to realize how much their vote is worth and that nobody should ever tell you how to use your vote. Closed doors, open doors. I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be around because most people don't want to pick up trash. They don't want to clean up events, but that's the stuff I like. So if that means I do it and I don't have a role, that's fine, because I know that my friends on council are still going to come out with me.
That's right.
Still continue to do those things. So I appreciate that. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
I love the city of Coatesville. I have always loved the city of Coatesville since I was a kid. Nothing will change that. Nothing can take that away from me. And I appreciate everything that you guys have done with and for me that are currently on council. And I will be there to back you up 100% going forward, whether I'm up there with you or if I'm in the audience or if I'm home, I'm with you guys. So just keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Green.
Marie. Now, you know how I'm not a trash picker-upper. But you recruited me. You got me
Gardening.
You got me doing things that I didn't run for council to pick up trash. I didn't run. But I so appreciate you, and the city appreciates you and your passion and what you bring to the table. Because it's all about our self-esteem. It's all about the cleanliness of our city. It's all about taking pride in Coatesville. And you have all of those things. You have so much pride for Coatesville. And I just look forward to continue to work with you. I'm sad, but I know that you're going to continue to work hard for the city. You're going to continue to give 100%. And I love you for your passion. And I just thank you so much for your commitment and your dedication.
Thank you.
I was so moved. I was so proud of the city on last Thursday for the demonstration. There were protests all over the country, and part of the reason I wasn't able to be there on Thursday was because some protests had taken part that were horrible in other places, looting and rioting and destruction and things like that. And I tell you, as I watched the video, I was so moved by so many young people that I seen out there committed to standing up for what they believed in and marching peaceably through our streets, respecting one another. I just watched it. I was a little nervous because of COVID, the close amount of people, but it was just so awesome to see. I look forward to other protests and other marches so that I can be there and I can attend. But I tell you, this is just the beginning. And, as I see them and as they, Mr. Logan, I heard you say that you've taken a few calls and people are wanting to come in and sit down and discuss. That's awesome, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some conversations. It's going to take a lot of work. And the one thing that I've been really pushing and I'm pleading with everyone, please complete your census form. We just don't understand how important that census form is, to our community, to our fight, to everything. The numbers that I was given tonight, we moved up a little, but we have a ways to go before December. And it's just so important. If you don't have the census form that was mailed out to you, all you have to do is go to Census 2020, and you can do it right there online. It takes about 10, 15 minutes. But fill out your census form, register to vote, set yourself up that we'll be able to stand and fight the way that we need to fight. Because again, last Thursday, I was proud. When I seen the residents, I seen Mrs. Hunt, I seen Mrs. Lawson, I seen Donald Folks leading the charge. it was just amazing, you know, to have so many people coming together. And the happy part about it is that people thought it was going to be out of control. People thought it was going to be violent. And I tell you, when you come together, I was just proud. I just seen Coatesville, and I seen the people of Coatesville wanting to make a stand and wanting to let their voices be heard. And it was just really amazing. So I'm just so grateful and appreciative. I'm so grateful for the staff and everybody and all the hard work that everyone does. I appreciate you, Chief, and your department, the finance office, Mr. Logan, of course. I mean, I tell you every day how much I appreciate you. So does everyone have a good night? Thank you for tuning in to our meeting. I hope that once we reopen and that we go back to City Hall to having our meetings live, that you will attend and just, you know, add your input. You know, continue to pray for us as we pray for the entire city of Coatesville. So thank you all and good night.
Hey, Madam President,
Yes, sir.
could we have Marie say that in Spanish about the census?
Yes. Mrs. Lawson, would you do that for us, please?
I don't even know if I know how to refer to the census in Spanish.
You don't? Okay, I tried.
Well, you know how to say a whole lot of other stuff that I can't, that's for sure.
I can
Should I give it a
Another
try?
Huh?
Should I?
No, Ed.
Okay,
No.
all right. I was just offering.
No,
No,
thank
Me
you.
llamo Eduardo.
That's about it. That's the extent.
Yeah, so it's over for our census.
I
And
tried.
thank you, I appreciate the intent.
I
Marie,
tried.
the word census in Spanish is censo.
Is what?
Censo.
Sense.
It looks like census, but it's CENSO, censo. So if you could add that and talk about it.
I'll say it. It's not going to be perfect, but I'll say enough that people will understand. So, Mr. Folks, you just want me to tell people about the census and how important it is?
Right, or just make sure you fill it out.
Ok, por la gente habla español en la ciudad de Coatesville, por favor, ustedes necesitan ir a la website de los centros. Es muy importante por ustedes a poner los nombres de las personas en su casa y hay cuántas personas viven en su casa. El reporte es muy importante por la ciudad, tiene los grants y las cosas por dinero, por las actividades, por las familias y los niños aquí en la ciudad. Este reporte es muy, muy, muy importante por la gente, todos en la ciudad de Coatesville, todas las personas, todas las familias, toda gente. Por favor, ir a la website de la centro, por favor, uscensus.org. Por favor, usen la Google por ese website. Es muy importante por las personas y la gente español y las personas todos. Gracias.
I don't know why you guys didn't trust me to do that.
Well, it's probably not completely correct, so I apologize. Lo siento por mi español, yo no hablo español todo.
Sounded very right to me. It sounded good. I was
Me
reading it
too.
on Google as you were saying it, and the translation that they have there, you were kind of accurate. Very accurate.
Very well. Thank you again. I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to all those who have tuned in. I want to say thank you to my colleagues. I have been in and out with council. I haven't been, my attendance hasn't been what it normally is, and it's due to my health issues. However, whether I'm on the Zoom meetings or not, I'm very well and on top of what's going on. I am reading and staying informed. And I just want to say with regard to the march, the protest march, the pride with regard to that march was off the scale. It was amazing. Like to bring you to tears to see how we came together for one cause. Mr. Baldwin back in the day made a comment, and he said, you can't change everything you face, but you cannot change anything if you don't face it. And this is where we stand, where we have to face the issue. I don't know why racism is such a hard conversation to have, because it's not a comfortable one, because it requires us to own our mess. It requires us to look at ourselves and see who we are at heart. So I just need my Caucasian brothers and sisters to hear me clearly when I say, I love you. I don't like a lot of things that I see, and actually I hate a lot of the things I see and hear. But I love you. And I need you to understand that you saying you're not racist, that sounds wonderful. But until I hear you and see you stand against racism, I can't anymore believe that you're not racist. The situation with Mr. Floyd just happens to be the straw that broke the camel's back. But this has been going on, and it has been it's been talked about, it's been written about, there's been marches, there's been protests, there's been riots, and there's been no change. Now is the time for change. If we look back, we can see that our leaders were young people. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. These men were in their 20s when they were out there leading, marching, working. They were in their 20s. And they had the support of our communities. They had the support. We have to stand behind our youth and allow them to know we support them. They were out there marching, literally putting their lives on the line for change. Our young people that were marching out there on Thursday, they were literally putting their lives on the line for change. And I was so blessed to see the diversity in that protest. I was blessed. I was saddened that I couldn't be a part of it. I wanted to be down there marching and protesting so badly. But because of my health issues, I couldn't. And I need to tell my colleagues, I'm ever so grateful to have seen you all in the protest. Mr. Logan, I saw you walking the protest, marching with them. Thank you. I can't express how appreciative I am for that. I also want to speak with regard to what moving from red to yellow means. I don't understand it. And I say I don't understand it because moving from red to yellow gives you the impression that our numbers are declining and things are becoming more safe. that's the impression moving from red to yellow gives. But looking at our numbers, they're increasing, not decreasing. So it's a bowl of confusion for me. And as a result of that, we as a council have decided we want to speak with some of the county administration to get a clear understanding of exactly what it is, because we don't have it, unfortunately. We don't understand. And it's for us to get an understanding so we can share it properly with you, our residents. I'm just, again, glad to be a part of the meeting, glad to have the opportunity to address you residents of the city, and hopefully from the meeting this evening, you garnered some information, and if you have any questions, comments, or directions that you're seeking for, please don't hesitate to reach out either to one of the council members or to our city administration. We're all available to you. So I thank you. God bless you, and please keep Councilwoman Alameen in your prayers. And Mrs. Lawson, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've always been awesome on council. And you've also been awesome off council, because you never let us go. You were always there doing something all the time. We started this journey together, and I truly believe we'll end it together. While you didn't get elected this time, opportunities come around. None of us have our names written on the seat. We have removable nameplates on the table. So
Save my new one then.
listen,
It just came in.
it's unfortunate that my seat is a ward seat and not an at-large seat, because you could run for the at-large seat again. Because they're, they come around. All the seats are voted like all the time. So please, stick around and stay involved. And you and I, we picked the trash. We didn't mind picking up the trash and being down there as the Easter Bunny and all that good stuff. You do a lot of good for our community. Okay, I'm sorry, I was distracted a second. You've done a lot for our community, and I just want to express how grateful I am to have worked with you this time around again, and I look forward to working with you next time around again. There is a lot of trash we need to pick up. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and my commitment to you is, as soon as I'm able, I'm there with you. We'll get it done, girl. We'll get it
Always.
done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Welcome.
I gotta find the card. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I lost my train of thought. My daughter distracted me. How about this? Thank you, love you, God bless you. Everybody have a blessed evening, and go Coatesville. Keep growing and moving forward. Thank you. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
Ms.
Ms.
Hunt,
Lawson, Mrs. Green. Full council, please.
Mrs. Green,
yes.
Mrs. Lawson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mr. Simpson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hunt, can you call Miss Lavender Norris, please? When this
Yeah.
is ready? All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Night.
good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
all.
Night. Good night.
Right.